Parliament's ad hoc committee, expected to resume sittings tomorrow in its probe into criminal infiltration and political interference in the criminal justice system. Former Acting Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane will be the first to testify after the inquisitorial body last year heard about a grand scheme to ensure he would not be appointed as the permanent head of the South African Police Service. Newzroom Afrika's Zoleka Qodashe is in Cape Town for us already, and she brings us what we are likely to hear tomorrow. Good evening to you, Zoleka. Already up and about in Cape Town, but it's all about serious business. Cedric Nkabinde is the man who dropped this bombshell, and this is how Khomotso Phahlane comes into the equation. Remind us what he said.
That's correct, Xoli. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers. What we're expecting to happen tomorrow is that we'll be thrust in the year 2015. That is when Ria Pierre was suspended, and then Khomotso Phahlane, the then former divisional commissioner, ascended to as the head of the SAPS as National Commissioner. So we'll be put in 2015, and also will be then taken to 2017 when he was suspended. So you remember that according to the allegations that have been made by Cedric Nkabinde, the former chief of staff to minister that's now been placed on leave of absence, Senzo Mchunu, he told the inquisitorial body in November last year that there was a grand scheme, a plot, he says, to ensure that Khomotso Phahlane would not be appointed as the permanent National Police Commissioner. And he says the reason behind this is because the forensic investigator, Paul O'Sullivan, wanted the former IPID head, Robert McBride, to be the head of the SAPS. That is the National Commissioner of the SAPS. But you'll remember, Xoli, we've previously gone through those constitutional provisions in terms of who appoints the National Commissioner. And so we expect that that Section 207 will also be thrust to the fore again in terms of who has the power to actually appoint a National Commissioner. Now, we'll also be then told, or rather, we expect that that tale that was told by Cedric Nkabinde in November of 2025 will also be relayed, and the questions that will come from the chief evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arnser, will be centered around that. Now, you'll remember that Cedric Nkabinde said that this grand scheme consisted of multiple people that would form part of that Phahlane task team to ensure that he is not permanently appointed as a National Police Commissioner. He said that it consisted of himself, Robert McBride, Paul O'Sullivan, officials from AfriForum, also mentioned something about the Democratic Alliance, and also saying that a female journalist, a white female journalist, was part of this task team, and they worked collectively to ensure that Khomotso Phahlane would not be the National Police Commissioner. Let's just take a listen to what he told the fact-finding body in November last year.
Yeah, no, I think it was a year 2017 where we were busy with plotting to remove Phahlane. He was an acting national commissioner. The main reason, Paul O'Sullivan wanted McBride to become a national commissioner. So we were targeting everyone who occupied that seat.
And I remember everyone's jaw dropping in the studio when Cedric Nkabinde said those words. Very quickly, Zoleka, what time does the ad hoc committee begin its work tomorrow?
Well, Xoli, we are yet to find out from the staff of the ad hoc committee what time the ad hoc committee will start tomorrow. Of course, you remember that it often takes place or starts around 10 to 11 a.m. But I think what's interesting is that they've only allocated one day to Khomotso Phahlane for him to actually ventilate or actually speak about those allegations that were made by Sergeant Kabinde. So what we expect to happen is that he'll first face questions from the evidence leaders, and then after which he will face questions from lawmakers who continue seeking clarity and seek to extract as much information from him in relation to these allegations of criminal infiltration and political interference in the criminal justice system.
Zoleka Qodashe live for us in Cape Town.